Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawmiddin amma ba'd. So today inshallah ta'ala we'll be continuing discussing the book Muqtasar Sahih Bukhari by Zabidi rahimahullah, and discussing the bab Kitab al-Wudu, and we have started that particular discussion, and we end regarding the discussion regarding Isbag al-Wudu. So we'll be discussing the hadith or the chapter that come after this, bi'awnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aywa.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Chapter 6, to wash the face with both hands by a handful of water. Narrated, here says,
Ibn Abbas.
Ata ibn Yasar.
And the Ibn Abbas.
Ibn Abbas, but it says it in brackets now. Narrated Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma performed ablution and washed his face in the following way. He ladled out a handful of water, rinsed his mouth and washed his nose with it by putting in water and then blowing it out. He then took another handful of water and he did like this, gesturing, joining both hands, and washed his face. Took another handful of water and washed his right forearm. He again took another handful of water and washed his left forearm, and passed wet hands over his head, and took another handful of water and poured it over his right foot up to his ankles and washed it thoroughly, and similarly took another handful of water and washed thoroughly his left foot up to the ankles, and said, I saw Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam perform ablution in this way.
So this particular hadith or chapter regarding غسل الوجه باليدين من غرفة واحدة, where the author or Zubaydi rahimahullah wish to discuss concerning those matters relating to al-wudu, which is concerning how to perform wudu. So in general, discussing concerning as-sifat al-wudu, so he mentioned this hadith of Ibn Abbas. So the hadith of Ibn Abbas is used regarding of those hadith that give us some ideas regarding how to perform al-wudu. So after discussing concerning al-wudu al-khafif, which is concerning that to do a slight wudu, a short wudu, then discuss concerning isbag al-wudu, how to do a more detailed wudu. Then now we discuss concerning how to go about carrying out the act of wudu. So I mentioned the hadith of Ibn Abbas as mentioned. So I mentioned that Ibn Abbas anhu قال أنه توضأ, that he performed the al-wudu فغسل وجهه, and he washed his face. Then I mentioned فأخذ غرفة من ماء فمضمض بها واستنشق. Then he mentioned regarding concerning the hadith that they mentioned from this portion of the hadith where Ibn Abbas explaining concerning how to perform wudu. And the first thing that he did, he gave a mujmal explanation regarding how to do it and where to start with. So he started regarding the face. So then he mentioned أنه توضأ وغسل وجهه, and he washed his face. Then he mentioned فأخذ غرفة من ماء. Then after discussing in general regarding of the acts of wudu, that he mentioned the acts to be done, that he mentioned washing the face in general. Then he mentioned in detail regarding how to go about washing the face. So start first by giving a general description. Then he mentioned a mujmal description. Then mention a description which is mufassil. So he mentioned that after process or after ways of performing wudu, that he mentioned akhada ghurfatan, which is one handful of water. Then mention al-madmada wa istinshaq, that one wash the mouth and then the nose. So washing concerning the face, and after that concerning the nose and the mouth. Then I mentioned فَأَخَذَ غُرْفَةً مِنْ مَا فَجَعَلَ بِهَا هَكَذَا. Then I mentioned that he washed the other limbs of the body. So regarding concerning the limbs to be washed, that there are four main primary limbs to be washed regarding wudu. First, regarding the face. And these limbs are considered of the arkan of the wudu. So washing the face, the entire face. And there's a discussion between the ulama regarding the face, regarding is the washing the nose and the mouth, is it considered to be wajib or not? And we'll discuss that discussion. Then the second limb to be washed is concerning both hands, washing both hands. And the person normally starts with the right hand and then goes with the left hand. When he discuss washing the nose and the mouth, that he did it with one handful of water, put it to his face, do the mouth and then the nose. That's the sunnah. So one handful of water will serve both for the mouth and for the nose. So the fashion will be, the method will be, the water is caught in the hand, then it will take some of the water, a portion will be into the mouth, and the remaining for the nose. Then you will blow it out, and then spit out what is inside the mouth. That's concerning how to do it by way of the sunnah, and that will be done 3 times. As for the method that sometimes is done by some, which is they'll get the water in their hand, wash their mouth 3 times, then do their nose 3 times. That's khilaf sunnah, but jaiz. Khilaf sunnah means contrary to the sunnah, but it is jaiz. Clear? So again, regarding the sometimes method, so said the sunnah, as in the hadith of Ibn Abbas, 1 handful of water. That handful is used a portion for the mouth and a portion for the nose. And that's done 3 times. As for the method that sometimes is done by others, where they would wash their mouth 3 times, then after wash their nose 3 times, then that's khilaf sunnah. That's contrary to the sunnah. But it is jaiz. But it is sufficient. It does the job. So that's concerning that method. Then he mentioned washing the hands, both hands, right, then left. Then also it mentioned wiping the head, the hair, and then third, washing both legs. As for the matter regarding some of the ahkam, they mentioned as general benefit from the hadith that al-jam, regarding combining and making wudu of washing the nose and the mouth together. So jam, so washing both, madmada wa istinshaq being done together. Then with 1 handful of water. So that's one of the benefit. Also it shows regarding Ibn Abbas anhu that is explaining regarding how to perform wudu. This shows concern, and then someone attributed this to the Prophet ﷺ. So it showed the companions was keen regarding how they did things as the Prophet ﷺ did things, and also they tried to explain things as he ﷺ did things. So concern of the sunnah, the Muslim tried to explain things according to the sunnah. Then also it shows regarding that Ibn Abbas and performing wudu, that the person give precedence to starting with the right, then to the left. But if the person was to do the left, for example, hand first, then the right hand, this is still jahiz, but khilaf sunnah. So the maqsood, the objective is that washing both hands. But the sunnah, what is mustahab, preferred, that the person starts with the right side first and then the left. But if by chance the person was to wash, for example, the left hand, then khalas, it's done. Then just wash the right hand. And that's sufficient. You don't have to repeat the sequence. Clear? So even though he did things wrong according to the sunnah, but what he did still is in line with washing the hands. And it is still, they said, jaiz. It's still sufficient. Then he washed the feet. So regarding concerning some of the ahkam that can be taken from this matter that is mentioned here, that will be taken from, because I mentioned al-masadir that we are using. So regarding concern, we use a book called Fath al-A'lam, which is a shar of Bulugh al-Maram by one of the Mashaykh from Yemen. The book is in 5 volumes, which is another of the explanation of Bulugh al-Maram. This one is somewhat good in the sense of he discussed mainly the ahkam that can be extracted from the hadith. But as for the fawaid, he doesn't go into fawaid. But is mainly he concentrate on discussing the masahil that relates to the hadith. So of those masail that are discussed, as we mentioned, regarding the ahkam of wudu that the ulama discussed concerning in wudu regarding is al-istinshaq wal-madmada. What's the hukum? Is it something which is wajib? So they discussed concerning washing the face is wajib. But is it washing the nose and the mouth, is this also wajib or not? So you have a discussion between the ulama regarding that particular matter, regarding washing the nose and the mouth also considered a part of the acts that are wajib in wudu. On that matter, we have a khilaf between the ulama. So regarding concerning al-hukum, al-madmada wa istinshaq, washing the nose and the mouth. So amongst the ulama, they mentioned that an-Nawawi rahimahullah, he mentioned there's arba aqwal. on this matter regarding the hukum of washing the nose and the mouth in the acts of tahara. The first of those aqwal, or those views, that those who mention that washing both the nose and the mouth, it is mustahab, it's sunnah, walaysa biwajib, and it is not wajib. That's a view that is taken, and they mentioned that it is sunnah for both wudu and ghusl. So of the first of the views of the ulama regarding the hukum of washing the nose and the mouth, they mentioned that the hukum that it is mustahab is preferred to be done whether for wudu and ghusl, and it is not wajib. And that's the qawl of the Shafi'iyah. That's the qawl of the Shafi'iyah, and also Ibn Munzir, Hassan al-Basri, and others. Another view, and they mention regarding his musta'ab, they mention that it is not mentioned in the ayah regarding al-wudu. So it is not mentioned in ayat al-wudu, so they mention it is, for they mention فَغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ, and it didn't mention al-madmada wal-istinshaq. So they mention that it is mustahab. Then another view, the second view on this matter is regarding concerning that washing the nose and the mouth, both, it is wajib. Both for wudu and ghusl. It is wajib that one must wash the nose and the mouth, and it's of the condition for, it's one of the condition for the validity of wudu and ghusl. And that's the second view. That's the madhab of concerning of the ulama, Mashhur and Ahmad al-Hanbal, and other of the ulama who have aligned to that particular view. And they include, they say it is wajib, that it is included regarding the ayah concerning فَغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. So it is included as a part of your face, according to them. The third view is that wajiban, that washing the nose and the mouth, it is wajib for ghusl, mustahab for al-wudu. That's concerning the third view. So they make a distinction regarding madmada wa istinshaq, washing the nose and the mouth, that they make a distinction between al-wudu, it is what? Mustahab. For ghusl, it is wajib, according to, and that's the view of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, and also, and others amongst his ashab, and also Sufyan al-Thawri. That's the third view. As for the third view, the fourth view mentioned, al-istinshaq wajib fil wudu, wal ghusl dun al-madmada, that they all concern that istinshaq, it is wajib for wudu and ghusl. Wal madmada, regarding the mouth, that it is washing the mouth, it is sunnah for both. So they make a distinction regarding concerning al-istinshaq, that the person must do that act of al-istinshaq regarding concerning water being taken into the nose. It's wajib for wudu and ghusl. As for madmada, they order it to be that it is mustahab for wudu and ghusl. These are the aqwal of the ulama that are there. And that last view is the view of Dawood al-Zahiri, and also a second riwayah, and Imam Ahmad, and also Ibn Munzir, and others who are of that view. The author here, in summary, regarding concerning that, the author of this book, Fatul Alam, that is more inclined towards the last view. Who can repeat the last view? So it's more inclined towards the last view, which is wajib. What's the last view? We mentioned 4 aqwal. No, said قيد العلم بالكتابة. Nam, record things if you want to, keep things, retain things by recording. Taib, because we're not good at memorying. That's the waqia. We have too much things to dunya. Nam, so certain things said, have a little note, for example, of the thing you take notes, to record everything can be difficult. But at least the thing that you record and memorize is the qawl rajih. Nam, and sometimes that may differ from the teacher and what's in the book and what you choose. Nam, so I said now general concern that we mentioned concerning the main aqwal of the ulama. As for the view that I understand, each qawl require further discussion. Nam, but also the general thing concerned, as I said, the author of the book that is more inclined towards the 4th view. Nam, so that's concerned. So the 4th view is the last view, which is he make a distinction between madmada and istinshaq. So I mentioned that istinshaq, the nose, it is wajib for ghusl and wudu. As for madmada, they know that is something which is mustahab. So you make a distinction between both those two acts, that istinshaq is a must be done regarding al-wudu, performing wudu, and also al-ghusl. As for madmada, washing the mouth, then that part it is mustahab. That's what he owes to be qawl al-rajih. So that's the general thing you can somewhat to let us, for us to be familiar with aqwal of the ulama, not necessarily we ever come to a qawl al-rajih. It doesn't necessarily mean that we, after this point, come to what we believe to be a qawl al-rajih, but at least we are aware of what are the views of the ulama. In fiqh lessons, then those things will be covered more in detail. But in concerning books of shuru, kutub al-sunnah, is more to give us an idea of the views that are out there. Clear? So it's not necessarily coming to a qawl al-rajih. That will take up a lot of, take up more time. So it's the general concern. So that's concerning that particular matter. So that's concerning what he mentioned there, as concerning of those matter. Then from the hadith that it mentioned concerning that of the discussion between the ulama also regarding matters relating to al-wudu, of the what they mentioned concerning of the thing which is of the acts of wudu regarding at-tartib. So that hadith it mentioned concerning a certain tartib sequence where you start with the head, which is start with the face, nose and mouth. And that order concern to start concerning the face, then the hands, then the hair, and then the feet. So I said that sequence, it is, the ulama or jamur concerns, it is wajib that the person must abide by that sequence. Meaning that in performing wudu, that a person will do the face, then when he finishes with the face, then what is the nose and the mouth, then when he ends, then he'll go to his hands, then when he finishes, he'll go to the hair, and to the ears, and then he goes to the feet. That's the sequence. Now, if the person wants to go outside that sequence, the person, for example, that did is start with his face, wash the face, didn't wash the nose and mouth, but he goes to the hand, do the right and left hand, then you remember, then he went back to his nose and mouth, then continue on. Now, understand? Clear? So the person broke the sequence. Start with the face, washed his face. Then after wash his face, he washed his hand, right and then left hand. Then when he used his left hand, remember that I didn't do my nose and mouth, but he washed his face. So he went back to the nose and mouth. Then he continued by doing his head, his ears, and then his feet. Is that wudu valid?
Yes.
Aye.
If you say that the tartib is wajib, then no.
Aye.
But if they say if they was to say the tartib is mustahab, then you would continue. Or some may say if the water hasn't dried yet.
Aywa. So we have concerns to the tartib that everything is done in the sequence, in its order. So the base of the hadith, it can somewhat give us that's the sequence, and that's the call of Jumhur, that the person that then but said that we mentioned regarding some of the ulama that have mentioned that concerning that the order is not wajib. That you have some that mentioned the order is not wajib, but al-rajah, that the order in a general sequence concerning it is wajib, where the person have to do the face, first, then the hands, the head, and then the feet. That sequence is wajib. So that's general concerning wajib too. But if the person was to start with his mix up regarding we start concerning that he did the face, then do the nose and mouth, then that's still within that order, that's still within the mahal of the face. So that is still okay. Or if the person wants to do the left hand before the right hand, because it's still the sequence of the hands being done is still okay. Clear? So you have certain things concerning the general sequence, then the person must abide. So that's concerning, mentioned concerning of those of the, then I mentioned the end, and that it seems that Ibn Abbas, that he explained this in a practical way. So sometimes regarding certain action, it's best to explain them, like certain acts of ibadah, regarding in a practical manner, so the person can see what you're being done. So by way of demonstration, So certain times, like acts of example, in a case where a person may be new to Islam, just accept Islam, explaining to them salat, wudu, ghusl, sometimes can be difficult, especially concerning salat and wudu. So sometimes they teach a person by way of practical demonstration. They can somewhat will register much easier than trying to explain, because if you try to explain, you will not get it right in most cases. So certain thing that so Ibn Abbas explained regarding al-wudu by way of a demonstration. Then they mentioned at the beginning, ثم قال هكذا رأيت رسول الإسلام يتوضأ. They mentioned the end. Then this is how I saw the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perform wudu. So it shows concern that that Ibn Abbas, and it shows regarding that matters of Islam is built upon dalil, and more so concerning ibadat, and in general. So Ibn Abbas, alim min ulama as-sahaba, taught the people wudu, explained to them wudu. Then at the end, he gave them reference regarding that what I just explained to you and demonstrated to you regarding how to perform wudu, that I saw the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perform wudu in this manner. So it shows regarding that Islam is about dalil. So it's not and not per se a taqleed. So it's about a dalil, especially concerning matters regarding ibadat, that we take things from the alim, that providing dalil is something which is for us to kind of somewhat feel ensured that how the alim understand things, and the dalil is actually everything is valid. Because an alim sometimes may mention things that's his understanding, and the dalil may be weak, or his understanding may be not as precise, but he's bashar, he's human being. So for the person regarding mentioning things with dalil is vital, as in this case regarding Ibn Abbas Ta'ala anhu. So that's concerning some of those matters that the shahid, that the author rahimahullah, that he wants to bring concern that al-ghusl wajh, we're concerning wiping off the washing of the face, and that the person regarding the nose and the mouth, that it is done with one hand. And I mentioned that when you wash the face, then you would use both hands. And I mentioned the person to start with the face, to wash it, start from the top, so the water can run down. So from the top of the face, and so everything can run down. So those are matters regarding sifat al-wudu, as in this hadith of Ibn Abbas Ta'ala anhu. Aywa.
Chapter 7, what to say while going to relieve oneself to the toilet. Narrated Anas radiallahu an, whenever the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to answer the call of nature, he used to say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith. Allah, I seek refuge with you from the devils, males and females, or all offensive and wicked things, evil deeds and evil spirits, etc.
Then the author mentioned regarding concerning ma yaqul inda khala, that what is to be said when a person wishes to relieve himself. Khala concerns a place al-fadi, is a place which is an open space. But used regarding the place where the person will relieve himself. So regarding concerning this particular matter, they discuss concerning what is to be said when a person wishes to go to the toilet. What is to be said? And this concerning going to the toilet when a person wish to, as they say, wish to urinate or to defecate. So this azkar is to be used when whether the person wishes to defecate or to urinate, then the person will say this particular azkar. I mentioned, Kan Nabi Islam, إِذَا دَخَلَ خَلَى. So I mentioned that when the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet of Islam, when he enters. So this then said, they mentioned, إِذَا دَخَلَ meaning قَبْلَ الدُّخُولِ. So what is understood is that he would say this supplication before he enters, not while he's inside. So it to be said outside, as we have the cubicle.
You said
concerning that, so this is the dua. So general concern that now this is concerning the dua that a person is to be said before the person or the person wish to relieve themselves. So they mentioned that either the person is entering a enclosed area that has a door, so the person will say this supplication before he enters. Now, if the person is outdoor in an open area, then the person, he says it at the place that he reached and he wished to relieve himself. Now, so and I mentioned concerning a dua, of the things they discuss regarding saying of these dua, regarding that of the adab of relieving of oneself, is regarding a part of this is the person saying this particular supplication, as mentioned, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubth wal khaba'ith. So regarding concern that they discuss between the ulama, of the man. Okay. So we're at. So regarding concern of this dua that is said before the person enters, then one, they discuss concerning if the person was to enter, he forgot to say it before he enters, and he actually now enter and start the act of relieving himself. Is he to say the dua or not? Of the ulama who hold that the person should say it, they said not in his mind. They say fi qalb, meaning in his mind. Not to utter it, but say it in his mind. And you have those who mention, no, the fact that you have missed the mahal, which is before, and you're already now in the act of relieving yourself, then you are not to say it at all. As azkar, the asl of azkar is that is for them to be uttered, not to be said as they say in the heart. So azkar are intended to be verbally uttered. So they don't per se carry the same significance or value if they're said as they say in our mind or in our hearts. So they mention that if the person enters, miss the place to be said, if he's already involved in the act, then he doesn't say anything, because he have missed the place that it was to be said, which is before he starts, not while he's doing the act of relieving himself. Second, that they discuss regarding saying of this dua, this azkar, regarding when enters, what's the hukum? Before the person enters the lavatory, the toilet, before this dua, is it wajib to be said or mustahab? Ibn Mulaqin and others mention, Ibn Mulaqin mention it is mustahab. In the bil ijma. So he mentioned that it is mustahab. It is not wajib for the person to utter it or to say this dua, but it's something which is mustahab. Because the person did say it, if he says it is wajib, and he forgets, then the person will become athim. So it is mustahab to be said, to say this dua. If the person forgets to say it, and is already in the act, then he doesn't say it. And at the end, he doesn't say it, because he has missed the place for it to be said, which is before. Third matter that is discussed regarding this dua, which is general, regarding this dua and others, that does the person who says this dua, do they have to understand and grasp the meaning, or just enough for them to just say it? So any of these azkar that we mention, is it sufficient for us to get for the person to get a reward by just saying it, whether the person understand the meaning or not? Clear? So the ulama discussed concerning that these azkar is not a requirement for the person to get the reward, and for him to understand what is being said. The reward comes by the person uttering it. So if the person doesn't understand, you find those who may not understand, but the fact that you have said it, then you have done what is of the sunnah, and you're rewarded for doing this sunnah. So it is not a criteria that a person must understand what he's saying, but he'll rewarded for saying this azkar and any other azkar of this nature. So the person gets a reward for uttering it at the place that is supposed to be uttered. Then the person is rewarded. Is not a requirement that the person have to understand what he's saying. And also it shows regarding that al-khubth wal-khaba'ith min al-shayateen. So the person said, the person seeking protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from those things that the person sometimes that are of the unseen. Things are of the unseen and can bring evil upon the person. So that's concerning in brief regarding of you have some of the narration that mention the person saying Bismillah before, but that's not also, those narrations are not authentic. So regarding concerning Bismillah, Allahumma inni a'udhu min al-khaba'ith, khubthi wal-khaba'ith, then a person does not include Bismillah. And dua is tawqifiyah. These azkar, the person only relies upon the text that is there without adding anything. As they mentioned concerning that, it is not allowed for a person to make ikhtisar or narrate things bil ma'na regarding azkar, because the meaning, what is mentioned is mentioned ta'abbudiyya. It is there as a worship with the wording and the meaning. So you're not allowed to condense it and to change the meaning around or to change the words around, because it is meant as it is. It is ta'abbud. It's an act of ibadah as it is given to us by the Prophet ﷺ. So that's concerning these matters regarding this. We'll stop for the salatu billahi ta'ala tawfiq wa hadi ila sabil wal akhida wa alhamdulillah. So next we'll stop here. Next, as because the salat time is changing. So next week we might start after salah. We might start next week after salat. So we initially said we'll start from 6:30 till 7:30, but because of the salat coming right, the smack in between, so it can somewhat cut the time. So next week we start after salat, inshallah.